Hi everyone, welcome to the 14th episode of Lemonology. My name's Grant Pringle. I'm a senior account manager at Pearl Limon Agency, and welcome on this awesome knowledge sharing platform. So today we've got our special guest Faeez, who works in our cold calling division, and it's all about sales, and customer relations. So over to you, Faeez. If you can just give everyone a brief overview of your background, and yeah, it would be great just to get an understanding of what is it in the life of Faeez when it comes to Pearl Lemon sales?
Oh, thank you so much for that, Ron. I am Faeez Sam Sadiq. My caller name is, or alias, should I say, is Sam.
Sam.
um, Sales grabbed hold of me at a very young age. I actually started selling cool drinks and snacks right next to the vending machine at school, at high school. So that's where it
Brilliant.
all began for me.
So it's
I,
obviously in your blood.
It's in the blood. It's in the
There
blood.
we go.
The drive comes from my mom. She was one of those ladies that sold everything. Tupperware,
Wow.
the Avon.
She could
Oh,
still ask you an Eskimo. Let's put it that way.
correct, correct. Yeah. So she inspired me to always. I think the drive was installed from me, in me from her. So sales has always been something I was attracted to.
Yeah.
Being able to write your own paycheck at the end of the month was something that really attracted me to sales. So I never, to be honest with you, I've never earned a salary where it was just a salary. I've always been able to fluctuate or increase my income, which was a big thing for me, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just having
So
that mindset, man, like Grant Cardone says, the 10x, you always want to push further, you know.
the hustler
That's it, brother.
mindset.
It's all about
That's
the
it.
hustle, man.
There we go.
Yeah.
Um, had a really good sales career.
They
I've
say they
always,
say
yeah,
go big or go.
home.
No, go bigger. That's what we do at Paul Lemon, brother. You understand
Sure,
that?
sure. Um,
Definitely.
yeah, there was one of the guys I used to work with. He used to say, "If your goals don't scare you, they're not big enough."
Exactly.
So yeah,
Exactly.
I used
Yeah.
to say. Yeah, so I have a firm background in sales.
Okay.
Back in the day, they didn't split out the sales like they do
Mm.
these days, where you have onboarding and after sales care. You as the salesperson handled everything.
You were
So
that you were that omni-channel all in one, basically, looking
correct,
after
one
everything.
one stop shop,
One-stop
and
shop.
yeah, yeah. If you're unhappy about something, you come back to me, yeah, and you
Mm,
say, "Hey, you promised this. Where is it?"
exactly.
So, so customer service or customer service excellence is something that's part of my DNA. Always
Great.
keeping people happy meant that I was able to earn a longer period of time. So long as they were buying, I was earning. So part of
Mm,
my duties was to keep what they call today as customer management or customer relations. Just
yeah,
keep them purchasing, keeping them happy.
exactly.
So yeah, that's my background. It's always been like a complete solution, being
Yeah.
completely involved in the process from inception all the way to maintenance and after sales. In 2020, I joined the international remote environment for the first time,
Okay.
and was really amazing. Because historically, I only dealt with the South African market, and now I was exposed to the US market. I was exposed to the Australian market, to the New Zealand market, and
Oh
you,
wow.
yeah, you always have this. I would say limiting belief, because you're dealing with. Uh, I feel like it's a lot more educated people than we are in South Africa, but
Yeah.
I fared quite well. The conversations were good. I was one of the top performers for the company I was working with, and it was actually really exciting speaking to people that actually engaged. It didn't feel like I was educating people. It was actually more of a negotiation than
Negotiation. Yeah.
education. Yeah. So it just really opened up my horizon, and I gained so much more experience. Yeah, so
Fantastic.
that takes me to Pearl Limon.
And the world just
Pearl,
becomes a bigger place, you know, like
yeah,
in a smaller realm, but in a bigger place. So that's the awesome aspects of remote. It's that flexibility aspect. You can be your own boss in that sense, and it gives you kind of all those responsibilities to how you manage yourself, and it teaches you a lot about life in general, about
correct,
flexibility, about adaptability, and it's quite different to the normal stance of working on site, where you can actually physically, get hold of people. So you've got to plan accordingly when it comes to remote. If you, like the saying goes, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
correct.
So, in that sense, yeah, I think that gives everyone an overview. But like the nice thing with Pearl Lemon, it feels like we family because we can just message, we communicate everything on WhatsApp, which is incredible through the map. And it's just an
Yeah,
awesome app that we can correspond to. When it comes to communication, it's all about communication at the end of the day. So if we're all on the same page with each other, it makes life easier. And yeah, like this is what we do. From my side, being an account manager, you in the sales side, we're always on the same page with each other. We understand where things are going, and I just think that it's about interdepartmental key communication. Where you can have all departments in one sync. I think
correct.
that's what it boils down to. But
Yeah,
Faiz, just thank you for providing an overview of your background. That's just incredible. And I know you've obviously mentioned you've had various experience in finance, in car dealership finance, and a wide range of. You were a financial advisor too, so you've got a really cool, strong background in customer relations. In that sense, but I'd like to understand, just to give our viewers and listeners out there an overview of what is it in the day of life of Faiz. What is your kind of operating procedure when it comes to getting on the dials with the clients, and what do you actually do from a planning perspective? Because I know when it comes to onboarding a new client, we hand that over to you guys. There's obviously the reporting system. There's the actual pitch. You obviously want to have a really clear, concise pitch deck that you can get to prospects out there. So how do you go about working that?
brilliant. Thanks for that question. That's brilliant. Um, yeah. Um, so the procedure has morphed somewhat since I've started at Pearl Lemon.
Yeah.
When I started, I was provided with 117 days of cold calling training.
Oh
That
wow.
is done by our founder and commander in chief, Deepak.
Deepak. Yeah.
So basically, what I used to do is first thing in the morning, I would watch at least a half an hour of training videos. It's just little tricks, tricks and tips on how to break the ice, to start
Yeah.
just your
Because you get
first.
those people that just want to get to the points, but you just need to
Yes,
break that ice and just to make them feel at ease, make them feel comfortable,
correct.
and it's all that psychological.
It
So there's a
is
lot of psychology involved.
correct.
Yeah.
So that training is available and it's amazing. I
Oh
think
yeah.
it's also
There's so
free
many
of
training
charge.
videos that these put together and so many hours. Like there's the communication and autonomy training that we did, and
Yeah,
it's definitely helped a lot. So
sure.
yeah,
So with my 2 decades of experience, I've never quite gone through training that puts everything in structure. I think
yeah,
I've picked up a lot of the things on the way, but this really defines it, and it puts it in a nice structure that you can follow.
yeah.
So my mornings used to start off like that. Would be, oh, sorry about that. The dogs want to
We
join
all work
in
from
the
home,
interview.
brother. We all in a remote world. So yeah, we're
the
just letting
the
nature take its course on this one.
the sound to let
There
me
we
know
go.
that I've got mail.
I
Uh,
love your painting behind you, by the way. Is that your dog?
that is I painted that myself. That is for my
Another level
dog.
of skill, Faiz. You see, look at that,
Thank you.
brother.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah. That is
Yeah.
for my oldest guy, Jack Russell. Love him to
Oh
bits.
man,
Yeah.
brilliant.
So that's the training, and then basically
Hmm.
what it would be is we'd call for different projects. So it
Okay.
wouldn't be one or the same pitch over and over and over and over. We'd call for different projects, different companies,
Hmm.
and all of them had different uh, products. Um, So it was really exciting for the first time. It wasn't very monotonous where you're doing the same calls throughout the whole day,
Yeah.
doing 200 calls trying
And
to,
when it was with your
yeah.
training, were you actually speaking to prospects, or was it just how would you actually train yourself by being on the calls?
By jumping on the calls.
Oh,
Yeah,
great,
yeah.
perfect. Okay, yeah,
The interview process was quite intense for myself. So to
yes,
start at Pearl Limon, I had to do 2 hours of cold calling,
okay,
and record those calls and issue them as part of my application. So
brilliant.
you already live on the phones
On the phones, yeah.
from day zero, not even day one. Yeah.
Wow,
So basically, we have a very experienced member in our cold calling team. She's got years of experience and
yeah,
she's really amazing. So the process is we will get notice that there is a new customer or client onboarding.
okay.
Normally will give us a couple of days, 3, 4 days, just to go through the onboarding
Not
application
one day
form.
like some clients that we've had. Because we need time to adjust, to get to know the company, to know the background, to know what we're really going on about, because it's quality versus quantity, right? And we
Correct.
don't want to just burn through leads. We really want
Leads.
to have clear, concise, transparent communication and knowledge and understanding of, you know, what are the client's main goals and objectives, the level of service or products they provide, etc., etc.
In my experience, most of the clients that we work with don't know what the elevator pitch is.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
for those people that don't know what an
Because we are the
elevator pitch
experts in
is,
that. We kind of
yes,
drop that.
yes,
So,
yes, yes.
yeah,
So elevator pitch is basically the concept is if you had to get into an elevator with somebody and you had a couple of seconds to just explain to them what it is you do, that's what
it's
an
a
elevator
great,
pitch is. So,
great analogy
yeah,
that you provided. Yeah, that's why it's an elevator. That's where it
yeah,
comes
yeah.
from.
Or your unique selling points.
Yes.
US, yeah, perfect.
Your X
So
factor, your
yeah,
USP. What makes you stick out compared to your competitors? What's
correct,
different, than the
sure.
plain Jane and Joe? Yeah.
So
Go so.
so so usually what would happen is our experienced caller would do a couple of calls first.
Okay.
Once we've gone through all the material, so that's the onboarding form, the application. We all go through that. We watch the onboarding video for any tidbits or gems that we think are cool to put in the pitch. Um,
Okay.
then our senior caller would make calls, and then we would review those calls as a team.
As a team. Okay.
As a team,
Yeah.
we normally
Just to
listen.
ensure that just to go through those teething phases, just to iron out what could be added, what could be removed, just to ensure that this pitch is going to be the bee's knees.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure. They're saying if you're going to chop down trees, spend 50% of the time sharpening the axe, because that would make you more effective. And ultimately,
love
that's
it.
that's
Yeah,
that's exactly what we do. We hone in on the sale pitch, which obviously with the years of experience that we have, we can acknowledge where there is a glitch, or where there is pushback in terms of the calls. So you can have a nice smooth introduction,
yeah,
and the prospect goes, yeah, but what is this call about? And if you fumble, it's okay to fumble the first couple of calls because you're getting your rhythm. But if that's consistent, then we need to tweak that so that there is a smooth transition between introducing yourself and actually bringing in what you there to get.
yeah.
So yeah, I
Brilliant.
would normally, in terms of my planning, we would block off certain hours for dialing. We also use a Pomodoro. I'm not too sure if you know what that is. It's
Yeah.
basically a timer
A timer. Yeah,
um, that is displayed on screen, and you set it for however many minutes you would like to call for, and that's all you do in that time. You don't respond to messages, you don't check your emails. Basically
Mm.
you play a little game with yourself. So you're saying in these 25 minutes I'm
Yes.
going to book two or three uh, calls in
It's a good way
somebody's
to test
calendar.
yourself and to obviously get on, in the timing sense. You're challenging yourself in that respect, and I think that's the
Correct.
beauty of the pomodoros. Yeah.
Correct, correct. So that's basically how I block out my calling times.
Okay.
No distractions. I've got a beautiful view as well, so that normally helps when the prospects say no or hang up on me or tell me uh, uh, what to do with myself.
Yeah.
And yeah,
It just means
so
you're going to get closer to the next yes. So don't stress
correct.
about that. Yeah.
Correct. I
Yeah.
think the most important thing for someone like myself is the time management,
Okay.
especially because there's nobody micromanaging you, or there's
Exactly.
no one else to hold you accountable,
Yeah.
but yourself. And then
Correct.
also just that
That's a
persistence.
very important component. So yeah, it's just a
Yeah,
time management. Yeah.
yeah. I do tend to watch some stand-up comedy at times when
Okay.
I feel like the levels are a little bit low.
Talking
Welcome,
about dogs
welcome.
earlier,
Yeah.
Milo. Yeah, I think he's talking at the moment, and he's
Sure,
trying
sure.
to. Yeah, but yeah, it
It's a
looks like
beauty.
we just got someone over here.
Cool. You've got mail.
That we've got mail. We've got mail. Definitely.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely the energies need to be there. So basically, you
Yeah.
wanna mirror what you're hearing. You're picking up tones.
Yes.
Listening is a vital skill in terms of this, because you need to kind of almost instantaneously pick up where
Yeah.
your prospect is at in terms of the first couple of sentences you let go.
It's also normally the first 7 seconds. I always heard this in sales. You always want to understand. It's also how you present yourself within the first 7 seconds, and you can actually read someone, even if you from an audio perspective, not just from a face-to-face perspective. You can just really pick up that sense of energy and how you
Correct.
can nurture and work that energy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So basically, our goal is to book in appointments in our
Correct.
clients' calendars.
Okay.
Um, Something that I manage to do consistently on a daily basis. It's always exciting. I'm not too sure if I expanded enough on the preparation.
Yes.
So yeah, once we sit down and we have an actual pitch in place, we normally have two versions of the pitch,
Hmm.
which we go out and
Yeah.
normally.
It's like A/B testing, so you can actually check which one is working, which one is more preferable, which one is more flexible and adaptable.
Sure. And
Yeah.
and you obviously put your own flair to the pitch, because everybody has their own style on how they
Yeah.
do things.
And
Um,
Faiz, I
for,
just wanted
yeah.
to understand when you make calls, what
Mhm.
systems you don't use your cell phone, you don't use a
No.
phone, just to give the audience an understanding of
Sure.
is it an operating system that we use to effectively just to give everyone a clear understanding.
Sure.
So from a contact number perspective, we obviously generate the contact numbers through online, and then we export the contact lists, and these are obviously opt-in subscribers, and then that will feed into the operating call system.
Yes, which is called Crazy Caller.
Crazy caller, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what we use. But there's a plethora of CRMs and callers, dialers.
Yeah.
So we use Crazy Caller, and basically there's an option that is called a power dialer. So what that does is it just lines up the calls for you, so you don't have to manually select a number, click call.
Click call. Okay.
There are settings that you can use, and we normally set it to give us like 15 seconds before the phone starts ringing. So
Okay.
it will bring up a contact name, their position, what company,
Which will give you enough time to adjust and get an overview of who this person is, their job title, their description, just to so you can figure out, okay, this
yeah,
is what I need to know and how
who
to work
who
it.
am I who am I calling?
Yes.
They normally give you a link as well that you can quickly open up, and so you can actually have a look at their website while you're talking to them. Sometimes have LinkedIn open as well, so that's another tool that we use. Or also that you just have a little bit of how do I say this, individuality, or like a personal touch in terms of your calls. And yeah, so then we start hitting the dials. We try and get as many leads as possible in terms of booked appointments.
And we
Uh,
do roughly per client about an average of 70 to 100 calls a day. So it's a lot of calls considering how many other clients you work with. If
yes,
you've got three clients, that's like almost 200,
yeah,
240 calls a day, and you want to try and prioritize it. And Yeah. So I
Correct.
know. So for one of our clients, we've done 2,000 calls, almost 2,000 calls in the space of just under 2 months. So it just goes to show that's consistency, right?
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
And even if we
It's
get 1 or 4 yeses, and it just depends on the client's niche, if they're charging £50,000 for one service, that's their ROI already met. So it just boils down to the nature of the client. How many of those leads do we need to get to XYZ for to get that return of investment? Because that's what it boils down to is the ROI.
yeah, correct.
Mm.
Perfect. And obviously we review those leads as well. So
Yes.
when we have good calls, we review it as a team. When we
Okay.
have bad calls, we review it as a team. When things aren't working, we review those calls as a team. So
Yes.
so we're always finding ways to improve,
To improve. Yeah.
do it better. Yeah.
Wow. If I
And
use this is just
yeah,
a whole everything you've shared is such invaluable because it just goes to show how much planning and preparation goes behind the scenes when it comes to cold calling. But we obviously more than just cold calling. There's a bigger scope to it. We have to ensure we aiming for the correct targeting. So that's where our lead gen team comes in. So just so for everyone to understand, we have a variety of sectors in Pearl Limon Group. So we've got Pearl Limon Agency, where I'm involved in from the account management perspective. We obviously handle the SEO lead generation side for LinkedIn. And besides cold calling, we also do LinkedIn outreach campaigns to promote brand. We just obviously get as many connections as possible to connect with. And for those clients to obviously understand who the client is. So if it's a new business that's launched, that's one of the best things. And it takes much longer for LinkedIn to build connections, to book appointments, but it's more about brand exposure and awareness for their clients. But with cold calling, it's just a different take because there you're actually speaking to someone who effectively makes those decisions. So it's a very important component of our business. And there's Pearl Lemon leads too, which effectively is the same nature, but we obviously do cold calling for our business. In our various sectors to get business. And that's just generally how Pearl Lemon also gets business through our sales department. So we have a business development team as well, which is Wayne, and Jude, who obviously go out and try and bring business in. So it starts with sales, business development, then it goes into account management, and then it feeds off to the omni-channel department. So that's obviously in your domain, Faeez, which is the cold calling department. Then you've got LinkedIn, and then you've got email marketing. So we also do email marketing. So the more variety of channels we can cross pollinate with one another for our clients, the better that they'll get more exposure out there and potential, business and sales. And that's what it boils down to.
correct.
Yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to kind of give a holistic overview so
Overview.
everyone understands where, our
We fit
various
in.
departments fit in.
Correct.
So, yeah, awesome. But Faiz, I really want to thank you for your time. You've given us a whole wealth of knowledge around what is it in the day of your life, how you go about your day. And it's really great to understand the systems that are in place. And once again, it's also about time management because you're managing yourself. You obviously have yourself to account for at the end of the day. We all have ourselves to account for. And but with an amazing CEO, an amazing brand, Pearl Lemon is just, we also kind of a startup. We only started in 2016, but the amount of growth that this company is doing is just incredible because we have an amazing team behind it. And there's a saying that goes, teamwork makes the dream work. And I think that's what it boils down to. But
Sure.
have yourself a fantastic day. I'm sure you've got those Red Bulls, those MyPages, those Bio Pluses ready to pump and get those calls. It's just like the Boiler Room. Remember that
Yeah.
movie, The Wolf
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
Wall?
Yeah.
Faiz
Yeah.
is the Wolf of Wall Street, the Boiler Room. He's everything all in one. He's that pot cooking and going to cook us
Yep.
some really good food.
One more point before I
Yeah.
go. We have this idea that COVID was so horrible.
Yes.
The one thing that it did, look, if you're going to blame it for the bad, you might blame it for the good. It changed the way we do business forever. I mean, the world has become a much smaller place now in
It
terms
has,
of
eh? It has.
working remotely. You
Yeah.
could work from anywhere. So yeah, I just wanted to make that point as well. It's very interesting to actually see the good side of it as well.
there's always the positive side to it, that we can look on, and that's what we're about. Just focus on the positives. We move on to the next one. But it's been awesome, Faeez. I'm really looking forward to a solid catch up next time.
Perfect.
I'm sure there's lots more to chat around the cold calling side, but let's treat this as an intro perspective for all our listeners to kind of get a feel and understanding of what goes behind the scenes. But we can definitely touch on more strategies and techniques on how you go about your day when it comes to cold calling, because there's so much to chat about too. It's such a and cold calling will never die, because at the end of the day, we're all human. Humans need to connect with one another, irrespective of AI or all these technology components that are around us. So cold calling is just never going to fade away.
Correct.
Awesome. Have a great one.
Perfect.
Thanks so
Thank
much, Faeez. And to all our
you.
listeners, um, you know, for more information, I'll add a few links below. You can head up to Pearl Limon Sales, Pearl Limon Leads, Pearl Limon. I'll share all the respective links about all our respective subsidiaries, just for you to get an understanding of who's who in the zoo. Um, and yeah, that will give you some peace of mind. And wishing everyone a great week further. And keep an eye out for our next podcast for episode 15. Can't believe
Brilliant.
it's already episode 15 we're going to be on. It's crazy.